Hello and welcome to Eastern Horizon. This is Malik Ayub Sumbul. Tension between the United States and EU has been increasing after US has to impose 10% tariff on 8 European Union countries, including Denmark. Because of their opposition to this plan, Trump vows to raise the tariff to 25% if a deal to acquire Greenland is not reached. To discuss this issue, I have joined by Rasmus Jarlov, a member parliament in Denmark and the chairman of Denmark Defense Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let me know that that this tension between the United States on Greenland is heading.
That's a good question. It seems to be escalating right now, and we hope we can avoid a big confrontation with the Americans. But it's difficult because we're asked to do something that we can't do, which is to hand over our territory and all the people living there that are Danish citizens and don't want to be part of the United States. So it's not a reasonable demand, and no country should be expected just to hand over part of the country to another country just because they think they want it.
So you are a veteran politician and also a chairman of the Defense Committee. So the United States, this typical behavior we saw in other countries, but how you think that, especially towards its alliance, that is the NATO and the European Union countries. So how you see this man mean that? This behavior or gesture, how you could drop it down?
Well, it's new from the Americans that they're going on a conquest to annex territory from other countries. We have not seen that. I don't think the Americans have done that since the Spanish-American War in the late 19th century. They did get some islands from Japan after Second World War, but you can hardly blame the Americans for the Second World War. That was started by the Japanese with Pearl Harbor. So aggressively attacking another country to take their territory, to incorporate it into the United States, that is something I don't think the Americans have done for about 130 years. And it's very, very dangerous. And of course, it is very unfortunate for Denmark to be at the receiving end of such ambitions, imperialist ambitions, from the Americans. I know a lot of other countries are angry about what Americans have done in the past. Many countries have been at war with the Americans, but the Americans haven't taken their territory. There has been other goals that they have tried to achieve. And if they took Greenland away from Denmark, that's permanent. Then we won't get it back, and we will forever have lost a very big part of our country. In fact, 98% of our territory. So it's not something we can just take lightly, and it's certainly not something that we can ever agree to.
So there was the 15 soldiers that comes back on Saturday from Greenland, and then I think that the member countries have pledged this thing that there should be enhanced the number of the soldiers on the Arctic and this region. So after that, the US put this 10% tariff. So what next? That is which kind of the more the military presence from the NATO members countries we can see on Greenland?
There has troops been sent up there, and we're very glad that some allied countries from Europe have also sent a little bit of troops up there. It's important. So this is not just a confrontation between Denmark and the United States, but we also have countries that back us up because we are, of course, incapable of standing up to the Americans alone with only 6 million people in Denmark. So this is very important for us. This is really a crucial time. And we see now that we have true friends in Europe, and we're extremely grateful for that in such a difficult time for our small country. But so I don't know how it's going to turn out in the future, how many more troops will be sent up there. We will see. And we will, of course, we won't publicize everything we do in regards to troop movement for obvious
For
reasons.
sure, for sure. That is, I mean, that is something like, I mean, that's come under the security mandate. But a general question is this: that in case of any unilateral action from the United States, in form of mean to landing their troops on Greenland, what option like Denmark have and the member countries? What option they have?
We will, in that disastrous situation, we will of course fight against an invasion, just like any country would fight off an invasion to the best of their ability. Even if we know the Americans are much stronger than us, doesn't mean they can just come and take our land and people. That can never be allowed, and any country will fight against that. Denmark will of course also call on NATO, which has an obligation to help us if we are attacked by another country. And I expect then NATO will be finished because it's the Americans attacking us, and they will probably veto that we should come to the aid against them. And then there is no more alliance. So that will be the end of the NATO alliance that has kept large parts of the world safe from aggression from other countries, and have ensured that NATO members have not had to fear that anyone would come and take their territory. And that world order would then be ended, unfortunately.
So after this, the European Union have called an emergency meeting today on this issue. So, so what is expected from that meeting?
I don't know what is expected, but we're hoping that European allies will continue to stand with us. They will find a way how to best address the Americans, together with the British and the Norwegians, who are also targeted with tariffs. We're very happy again that allies are standing with us, and of course, if we gave in to the demand, and we just give up Greenland just because the Americans put a tariffs on us, then it would be completely ridiculous. And of course, we're not going to do that. The Americans could raise the tariffs 10 times or 20 times, and we still would not change our position. That's not going to make a difference, of course. And if we allow them to, use tariffs as extortion for us to give up our territory, then there is no dignity left, and there's no alliance. Then Europe will just be vassals of the United States. And that's not how we see ourselves. We appreciate very, very much a relationship we have with Americans, but we must insist on a certain dignity in that relationship.
So there was some American delegation, like some American senators was there, including Senator Lisa Murkowski, a Republican from Alaska. They have some meetings with your prime minister and also with some Greenlandic politicians. So
Yes, and
is
I was
this
there also.
yeah?
Yeah,
So
I also, yeah.
so you were there, okay? So
Yeah.
what was that this tour was actually? It was trying to be lobbying something or trying to downplay. I mean, what was the outcome of this visit?
Well, they came to show sympathy and solidarity with Denmark and Greenland, and we are very grateful for that. There's a lot of Americans. I receive emails all the time now from Americans apologizing and expressing sympathy with us, and saying that most Americans do not support the idea of annexing Greenland and taking that away from Denmark. And that's great to know, and we really appreciate that a lot, and we hope those Americans also will be the ones that decide, because it is the majority of the American population that's against this idea. So hopefully, the United States will not be doing something that the majority of the Americans are strongly against, and that will endanger their security and the entire European security as well, and it will make the world a much worse place. Because even if you're from other parts of the world, if you're from India, Asia, wherever you're from, no one can be interested in a world order where borders are up for discussion. If your neighbor thinks that he needs your land more than you, then he's entitled to take it by force. That will lead to a large number of wars, and we will be back to anarchy that we've been trying to prevent through the United Nations and trying to have a sort of a world order with respect for borders. It is very important for the peace of the world that this does not get normalized, and you can just wake up in the morning and point your finger at a piece of land on the map and say, we believe this should now be ours, even though you have absolutely no legitimacy behind that claim.
So in Donald Trump, in his first tenure, he also has a similar kind of the rhetoric towards Greenland. But then after that, he downplay and he abandoned, his plans for Greenland. But this time, how you think that he is serious, or he is just trying to check the bottom line of the Europeans? So do you think that is there serious consequences, or some serious like pressure from the United States that Trump really want to acquire?
The Americans are serious. Don't make any mistake about that. Or to be more specific, the American administration, not even the American government, because the government includes Congress, and Congress does not back it up, fortunately. But the U.S. administration, Donald Trump's presidency, are very, very serious about wanting to annex Greenland. There's no question of that. They say it very forcefully. They keep confirming it. And there's no doubt that they want Greenland, and they will take it if they're not stopped. The only question is who is going to stop them, and are they willing to take the very negative consequences that will come if they push ahead with this project?
So inside the United States, you mentioned before that there is a serious opposition on this plan. So how much serious and a major setback for Donald Trump if he really go for such kind of the adventure? So because outside also he has the opposition, and inside also he faces a massive opposition on this. So how he will tackle this?
Yeah, I don't know, and we're not interested in Donald Trump losing face or in any way face a defeat. It's not what we want. We want to have a victory for peace and cooperation, and we're trying to find ways where we can make Americans happy about the situation in Greenland. The challenge we have is that we already have given them full access. A long time ago, in 1951, we signed a defense agreement with the Americans that allows them to put troops and bases in Greenland. And if they want to do mining, they have always been welcome. The Greenlanders have been looking for international investors for many decades without finding them, because mining is actually not very profitable in Greenland because of extreme Arctic conditions. But if they want to do it, the door is wide open. So the challenge we have is really just to say, you already have the access that you could want. So we can't see what you would gain from an annexation, and therefore we can't really give anything to you that you don't already have. That's from a negotiation perspective. That's a big challenge.
So in all this situation, where the Greenlanders, that the people of the Greenland are standing there, that there are some like news and some other, that recently we saw that there are also talks of the independence of the Greenland. So how you see that moment?
Yes, Greenland is part of Denmark voluntarily, because they do have the option of leaving. And they've had that option for 17 years, and they have not started a process of independence, and they have not requested independence. So it's important to understand that they're part of Denmark because they want to be. They want to be more independent, and some of them want to go for full independence, but it's not something that anyone thinks is going to happen anytime real soon. So for now, they are part of Kingdom of Denmark, and I expect that they will be so for many, many years. But it's not something that I will decide, because we're not forcing them to be in Denmark. But my prediction is that they will be part of Denmark for a very long time, especially after all of this, because the alternative now is becoming very clear. that if they cut the ties with Denmark, they would be swallowed by the Americans. And if they have to choose between Denmark and the United States, if that's the realistic choice that they have, then they will choose Denmark because they have so strong ties to Denmark. We have 6.5 centuries of history together. A quarter of the Greenlanders live in Denmark. They speak Danish. Most of them have been educated down here. And the two societies are very similar. Greenland is, in many, many ways, very much like Denmark. You walk into a supermarket, it's the same as in Denmark. We have the same currency. And the police is the same, the laws are pretty much the same, and so forth. So in many ways, it is a copy of Denmark, of course, with very different conditions. Geography is different, population is different, the culture is quite different because they have a majority of Inuits. So many things are different, of course, but many things are also a copy of how we do things in Denmark. And that means we're a much better partner for them than the Americans would ever be, because they wouldn't understand the laws. They don't have the lawyers that know how to interpret them, how to run everything. The system we have with the welfare state is more to the liking of the Greenlanders than the American model, and so on. So a choice between Denmark and the United States is not difficult for the Greenlanders. And they will choose to stay with Denmark. But if they want independence, we will not try to stop it, but I think for now, independence looks dangerous for the majority of them.
Thank you very much, Rasmus Jarlov, Member Parliament in Denmark and Chairman of Denmark Defense Committee. I really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.